Okay, I call the order. Woo.
I knew it was going to do that.
With that, David. Is that you, David?
Wasn't me.
Okay. Okay, I call the order of this meeting of the Board of Supervisors of Lee County, November 18th, 2013. Okay. Public hearings, a special use permit for Energy Biofuels. The Lee County Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing on November the 18th, 2014 at 5 p.m. in the General District Court Room of the Lee County Courthouse located in Jonesville, Virginia to solicit input on a special use permit request. Energy Biofuel has requested a special use permit to allow a methane storage tank for biodiesel production in a M1 limited industrial district. The property is located on Route 1018 Ray Wilson Drive in the Hickory Flats Industrial Park near the Woodway community, and consists of approximately 7.144 acres of land.
Mr. Chairman, the Planning Commission met last month and recommended approval of the special use permit. There has been no comment to my office either before or since the Planning Commission meeting, and there was no public comment that night as well, and it was a unanimous vote to recommend approval.
I have a question.
Sure.
That tank, is it a real large tank, or what size is it?
It is a substantial, it's, I think it's 100,000 gallons, but don't quote me on that, but it's probably 12 feet long and 6 or 7 feet high, something like that. I think it's 100,000 gallons.
Is there any safety concerns concerning this tank?
No, I mean, you know, you hate to say never and hate to say always on anything in life, but there's no special concerns, no. They have two similar tanks inside, but OSHA requirements don't allow them to have any more inside. They have to move the third tank outside. They've gotten a little cash infusion trying to expand their business a little, hopefully, you know, add a few jobs hopefully down the road, but this is for hopefully some additional production.
Have we had any discussion on the floor? Any from the board? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve special use permit?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the motion carries. Okay, special use permit, Lee County Board of Supervisors. The Lee County Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing on November the 18th, 2014 at 5 p.m. in the General District Courtroom of the Lee County Courthouse located in Jonesville, Virginia to solicit input on the special use permit. The Lee County Board of Supervisors has requested a special use permit to construct a solid waste transfer station for the hauling of refuge and recycling material in a A1 agricultural district. The property is located at the end of Route 864 Bus Shop Road and consists of approximately 107.9 acres of land.
Mr. Chairman, again, the Planning Commission met last month, a unanimous vote to recommend approval. There's been no public comment received in my office, either before the Planning Commission meeting or subsequent. So.
Okay, any discussion from the floor? Any from the board? Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Any seconds?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Permit is approved. Okay, department reports, solid waste, Gary Collinsworth.
Good evening. Total garbage collected for the month of October was 1,384.99 tons. Total tires collected were 12.0 tons. We've received more trash this year than what has been received in several years. From July through October of 2014, the weekly averages were 299 tons. Compared to the same months of 2013, the weekly average were only 259 tons, an increase in weekly averages of 40 tons. As a result of the hailstorm, we have received a lot of roofing materials through the month of October, and as the weather permits, we should continue to receive roofing materials through the month of November. During the month of October, we were able to finish up several projects. One of those was the remodeling project at Seminary Voting Building, which was finished on October the 29th. The start time of this project was pushed back about a month due to the time that was devoted to the preparation of the RAM event. The job was also delayed several days in completion due to employees having prior time scheduled off. The project was completed within $80 of the original material estimate, and that was mostly due to some trim installed around the entrance doors that were changed. Different design was changed on that. One of the second projects was the entranceway to the old Ewing School. It was also finished. The posts were installed a couple months back and at both entrances, and the cables were installed recently. This should help keep the unwanted traffic from around the building and stop some of the damage to the building. The third project that was finished in the month was we had some metal and other items that were stored in the area where the new transfer station was to be constructed. We had some topsoil, also some rock that we had stored there in the same location. Those items had to be moved to a new location to create the area for the installation of silt fence and other recent stormwater requirements. The vehicles and equipment, the buildings have been checked and prepared for the winter season. Some trucks were in need of front tires, some were needing rear tires to be safe for the highway for the winter season. And other repairs have been scheduled for the next few weeks. And at this time, we have one truck that is in the shop at this time for some additional minor repairs. For November, or for the upcoming month, we've got projects which are convenience center projects, and we have begun to work on those. Some of those convenience centers throughout the county have potholes and some other issues. We will be grading and or graveling the sites based on their need. And some of the convenience centers will need the dumpsters removed to effectively prepare the sites for the winter season, while others may just need minor grade work. For the sites that may not need any grade work, they may only receive gravel. We have some dumpsters around through the county that have major damage and in need of immediate replacement. And during the last month, we've had 8 dumpsters that had damage due to fires being set. Once these fires are set in the dumpsters, they begin to show major damage in a short period of time. We repaired 3 of those dumpsters last week. We have 2 in the garage at this time that we're working on, and we will begin repairing dumpsters each week throughout the remainder of the winter season. The normal wear and tear without the fires creating damage would normally keep us busy through the season. We had a water line to break Monday. It's between the transfer station and the forestry building, and there's a line also that's leaking inside the blocks of the forestry building, and that is in need of repair. And at this time, we do have the water just cut off until this cool spell gets behind us, and then we'll work on that repair as the weather permits. And that's all I have.
The increase in the trash, is that due to the water that we had during the summer, or do you have any reason for the increase?
No, actually, it's mostly our trash. Just the volume of our trash has picked up. And it's throughout the entire county. It's not just one or two locations. The old limit trash has picked up a little bit, but it's picked up a little bit more than some of the others. But every convenience center in the county has experienced some, increase in trash. We would have a little bit of that weight coming out of the trash from the weather, but not that whole 40 tons. We just had an increase in volume.
Anybody else have any questions? Well, thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
Okay, litter control, Josh Lehman.
Good evening. My report for November 18th is, for the month of October, the community service total says there's 80 people in the program. 64 people participated for 672 hours with 499 bags collected, an average of 8 hours per person, 6 bags per person with 80% participation. 14 people completed their community service, 7 people were removed for inactivity, and I signed up 23 new people for community service. On October 21st, I mowed the Stone Creek outdoor classroom for the last time of the season and got it ready for the winter. In October, I attended the KSVB meeting in Buchanan County. We discussed the cleanups going on in the region, and for me to get the numbers of my cleanups to Carol so she can enter them in the system for KSVB. I filled in for Mike and picked up the recycling on November the 12th. On November the 4th, I had an event at Stone Creek Outdoor Classroom with Carol Doss and Kathy Knotts from KSVB. We had lunch at the classroom provided for the community from 12 to 1, and then from after lunch we went to Lemon Field and made more stepping stones for the park. Those will be stored, and if any's broken throughout the time or any happens to get stolen, those ones we made will replace the ones that are broken. I've also spoke with Carol about putting some type of pavilion or picnic shelter at the park. This is the early stages. We're just discussing it. I'm starting to look at prices and stuff for materials. This is something KSVB will pay for. It will be nothing to the county, but this is just down the road. We hope to get a picnic shelter up at the park. I began to do cleanups in the county. The first one was on November the 5th. We started in the Staveley area, but once I got in there, I had received a complaint that the trash was coming from people in the neighborhood throwing trash, but once we got in there, realized the trash wasn't from the neighborhood. It was just an old building that had fallen down, and it was actually the owner's trash. So I've contacted them and told them to get it cleaned up, but they've not done nothing, and this one's been going on for a long time. So the next thing is just to issue a citation, because they do not seem to want to get that one cleaned up. The second cleanup was in Old Ridge Road over towards the Sticklerville area. We picked up from that one, we picked up 3 of the 4 locations located on the road. There was 28 bags of trash, 4 large pieces of carpet, 19 tires, some 2x4s, linoleum, and there was 5 trailer loads of brush. There's still one location on this particular cleanup, but I have to use the winch and that to get the stuff that's down over the bank, the appliances, the couches and stuff like that, and that's scheduled to happen this week. I also picked up on the Love Lady area. We went up there and we got 13 bags of trash off of that and shingles, and there was some more building materials from that one. We've also went to Cooney Hollow Loop, and there was 3 loads of shingles, trailer loads of shingles that we removed, along with some brush, 1 tire, 9 bags of trash. There is still some more shingles in that area, but we're going to go get those this week as well. I have 3 cleanups scheduled this week. Wampler Hollow Road, which I will be getting the furniture and tires and appliances from that. Schoolhouse Ridge Road, and we'll be getting the appliances and furniture from that one. And then the other one is the Old Ridge Road. We're going to go back and get the furniture and appliances that are over the bank there. My goal is to go out 2 days each week during the winter and to work on these cleanups, weather permitting. I'm going to continue the cleanups, and next month there will be a list in the packet of the cleanups I've done and what we plan to do throughout the winter to get these cleanups done. Complaints. I had a complaint about a lady coming to the Ewing dumpsters, and after the worker leaves, she will go through the dumpsters. I've spoke with the police officer regarding this matter, told him I would investigate the issue. I've been down there twice. I've not been able to catch the lady. I guess she's watching for people to come and stuff, but she's going through the dumpster, so I'm trying to catch her going through the dumpsters to violate her. I had another complaint in the Flatwoods area. I've contacted the property owners regarding this, and they're starting to clean that one up. I've also had a matter in Rose Hill. The people were going to clean up the property. They said that the person they had cleaning the property and take care of it was put in jail, and they was not aware of this. But that's been over about a month ago since I've talked to the lady. I spoke with her today and told her she had a week to get some efforts done in cleaning it up. If not, I would have to issue her a citation for not cleaning it up. My agenda for December is to continue with the cleanups. The Trex Plastic Bag Challenge will also be starting in December. It runs through December through March. We collect the bags all year to keep them out of the landfill, to keep the schools on, keep them bringing in the bags, but the program runs December through March. So it will be starting in December, the contest. I have a KSBB meeting in December I will attend, and the road inspections, and then the list of the illegal dump sites pertaining to the materials and stuff that are there. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have a treasurer's report for October 2013, October 2014. Make a note of that.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we amend the agenda to go to the delegations for Jasper Volunteer Fire Department so they can get on out of here and get back home.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all in favor? Okay. Thanks.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, board members. My name's Huey Carter. I'm with Jasper Volunteer Fire Department. And in 1994, I stood before the board down here, asking their approval to establish a fire department over in Jasper. At that time, we were approved, and I'd like to think that we are an asset to our community and an asset to our Lee County. I stand before y'all today to ask y'all's approval and blessing to establish a rescue squad in Jasper. It is very important. The call volume is up. We need one over there. We have been relying on Duffville to come over and take our patients to and from the hospital, our MVAs, stuff like that. We have to call on them. It's a matter of time. Duffville and Big Stone have done a superb job over the years working with us. We have good working relationships with them, but we feel like we have the EMTs, paramedics, to go ahead and venture into a rescue squad, and hopefully we can provide a solid service to the community and to our Lee County. I have a map of the area that we would like to take over and service, if I approach the board. It will be the red line leading all the way up through to Wise County there, through Scott County. We will be taking in the Jasper community over into Stickleyville, down towards Blackwater. And hopefully we can help these people out a little bit. Sunday night, Pennington Rescue had to come all the way from Pennington to Jasper to pick up a person, an OD person. The young lady that OD'd, okay. Time permitting from Pennington to take her to the hospital, the young lady could have died. Luckily enough, Duffville come in, assisted Pennington, and they got the young lady to the hospital. So again, we're asking y'all's approval and blessing to establish a rescue squad in Jasper. Are there any questions?
How many ambulances are you start with one or?
We're gonna start with one, and, you know, as your call volume goes up and the need, then we will branch out into two.
Is there grant money they will give you to help you with this?
Yes, sir, they are.
So you got the financing?
We are not yet, we're working on that right now. We're trying to get all of our ducks in a row before we can go ahead and get y'all's approval before we do anything else like that.
I appreciate what you guys do as fire department, and I know you do a good job, and I think you do a good job with rescue squad, and that's definitely something that's needed.
This is something that's been needed for a long time,
Appreciate it, sir.
a long time. Something I have been concerned about ever since I've been elected, the fact that you guys have been left out in that area. I have had to depend on Wise County and Scott County for help.
They've been awful good about helping us, and they invite us up to train with them and stuff like that, so we have a good working relationship with them.
And anything that you guys need help with, come and talk to us about it, and we'll assist you in any way we can.
Thank you very much, sir, I appreciate that.
Okay, what do we need here? A resolution or a?
There's a resolution in your packet that would grant approval to them to establish emergency medical services within the county. I would mention, as this is we've done this for hire organizations in the past, since this is a volunteer organization, this will require some additional funding because it creates an additional volunteer group that we fund each year. And we can work to do the supplemental appropriation at a later date. But right now, the only thing that's technically needed is the resolution 14-032.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve resolution 14-032.
Second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed?
Thank y'all very much, sir, appreciate it.
Thank you, Hugh. Thank you all, everything y'all do.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get back on the agenda. Public expression.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Larry Gullion, Keokee High School Alumni Association. I'm pleased to be able to tell you tonight that our 501(c) application has been made, thanks to Mr. Slamp and all his work that was put in the mail last Wednesday.
Here is the receipt from the post office.
Good, you're ahead of me. Right. What I'm here tonight to request that we proceed with the lease that we've talked about on numerous occasions. I understand that Stickleyville started out with a 3-month lease, but since we're probably going to take 12 to 16 months to get this application approved by the government, I'd like to ask for a longer one if possible. If not, we're happy to take anything we can get. We want to proceed and get started. Got a lot of work to do up there. It'd be much easier to get help and get the work done if we have the lease that we can proceed with. I'd like to request, if possible, that we take care of that business tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Callahan has prepared a draft document, and we'll need the official entity that we need to include. I can get that information from you later if we get prepared to sign a document. But he's prepared a document, and I recommended that it be for at least a 6-month period, which is what we've got. It's a lease that is similar to the one that we did with
I can get the
Stickleyville.
official entity to you tomorrow.
Okay. It's similar to the one that we did with Stickleyville, and So he has the draft ready. If you want to approve it in draft form and we can finalize it, then we'll get the balance of the
I think
information.
I've got the papers that you need with me tonight.
Mr. Chairman, is it appropriate to make the motion now to approve the lease?
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second, okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
None opposed, so the lease is approved.
Now, there is a kickback clause in that. After 6 months, you've got to pay us a lot of money, so. But for 6 months, you've got,
We've got all kinds of money.
all right.
Okay, anybody else wants to speak? There you go.
Sorry I'm late. Wife has a Bible teaching class, so she had to go to it. I'm Lawrence Freeman with Sickville School Community Center Association. I'm here tonight to present you with a copy of our 501c. As Larry said, it'll take a while. I've gone through 2 of them now, and neither one of them has been quick. But, present you with copies of it here and request that the board start legal action to turn the property over to the association, since this gives us federal tax exempt. I appreciate everything, appreciate the lease and everything that Larry was referring to, and hopefully that this will give us access to maybe some funds. We've run into some problems we didn't anticipate. We got 2 or 3 leaks in the roof that we found, and I hope and pray I got on the roof and cleaned out everything I could. But flat roof is a water leak. I don't care where it's at. And we've discussed trying to apply for a grant. I've discussed with a couple of individuals trying to apply for a grant to put a metal roof on our, at least 2-foot slope from the center back to the edge. I think that would eliminate all of our leaks, because it leaks in the women's bathroom, the men's bathroom, and a couple of the classrooms. And I was told that this wasn't the first time that it had been brought to, I don't know whether it was your attention, but I do know it had been brought to the school board before it was closed. The gym, I haven't been able to get on that gym, so I couldn't say anything about the roof on it. So far, we haven't detected any leak. But I appreciate everything that everyone's done. If you know of anywhere I can find any loose money you was talking about, I would appreciate it.
When's the bazaar?
13th.
Okay, invite everybody to the Christmas bazaar. It was a tremendous success last year, and we spent about 2.5 hours over there at it. I thought we were just gonna go over and visit, but when we got there, it was so busy and there was so much there that we spent at least 2.5 hours at it. Spending money.
It's December the 13th. We have 13, 14.
For planning one for the spring, I know you work in budgets, so we're trying to work on being able to get tables and chairs. Somebody said, how many tables? I said, 100. I said, at least 600 chairs, and that sounds like a lot. There's 8 classrooms, plus the gymnasium, plus the computer room, and I hope, pray that we can get one of the colleges to set up a computer class there. The lady has talked to someone at the college, I don't remember who she said now, about setting up a night class there, possibly. We've also talked to Mike Gilly, if some of you know him. He's with the college on I don't want to say mountain music. I forget exactly what the title is and everything, but we done had 2 meetings. Some people came from North Carolina, and I don't know what, I don't think you were present, were you? We met with them and met with Mike, and so far we've had, Mike's been out of town when we would meet, so I think we have one scheduled for January to meet with him, because he said he couldn't meet this month or next month. So hopefully we can get it. The way that they're talking, you have to be less than 12 years old to participate in the music. We're wanting it open to Larry, Tina, Dane. Whoever wants to come and learn how to play, or, you know, if you're willing to teach. So far, the people in North Carolina said that they would provide us with, I think, 6 dulcimers as instruments of mountain music. So we're working on that. We're working also, like I said, the Spring Bazaar. I met the other day with veterans group. Hopefully next year we can have it so that we can have the Veterans Day dinner done. So any help you can give, I appreciate it. Any suggestions? I know you suggested that we get a hold of the SEALs lady. As of yet, we haven't been able to make contact with her. I've made 2 trips, and both times she's been gone, so.
I'll have to get on to her.
Huh?
I'll have to get on to her about that.
Well,
I'll see
no,
her.
you can't get on her if she's out doing business. But hopefully we can work something out. And appreciate everyone's help again. Thank each and every one of you for your patience. And hope and pray that, like you said, come to the bazaar. I know you came to a dinner.
It's all day long, right?
Yeah, all day long.
What time does it start?
I think it starts at 9 o'clock, 9 or 10, I'm not real sure, because I'm not in on that side of the plan.
Do you know how many vendors you have so far?
I think it said 24. Hope that is the right number, but like I said, I'm not in on that plan and part of it, so I don't know for sure. To tell you some of the things that we hope that we can get, we are hoping that we can possibly get some of the inmates over at Duffield. I don't want anyone out in this cold weather like this is, but we need to scrape the building and get it painted. So that's where I said I hope we can get some grants to come up with some money to paint. I told them we would probably need at least 100 gallons of good quality paint and everything. But that's some of the things now. Like I said, I request that you start legal proceedings to turn everything over to us. Appreciate it. Any questions? If not, again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience, and I know we've been around. I got one question for step down. Dane, have you heard anything on the double wide there? That's still,
As to what?
whether you've got any bids on it? or
We
anything on that
took
order?
bids, didn't get anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking, someone asked me the other night in the meeting, and in Lord's will, we got a meeting, I think, Friday. That is 21st, right? We got a meeting Friday, so if you can, come over.
Right, anybody else from the floor?
Mr. Poe, what do we need to do here to,
On that issue, Mr. Callahan has a draft deed ready as well.
I just want to see?
And I've reviewed it, it's pretty straightforward. We were basically transferring all the property that was transferred to the county by the school board with the exception of a .788 acre tract where the convenience center is at. That'll be retained by the county. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward, simple deed.
Is that in addition to the current convenience center?
No, we had an area surveyed out. Gives us about I didn't bring the plat with me, but there's about a 10 or 20 foot buffer zone between our the fence and the edge of our property, so that we can keep it clear around it and things like that, but takes in the existing area that we've got, that we use now.
It cuts out about 3/4 of an acre total.
Cut that one.
There's an exception where the county keeps about 3/4 of an acre, convenience center.
That's all I had.
I mean, if you want to act on the deed, if you want to go ahead and vote on that, then we can move with signatures and go ahead and process it to them if they're ready to take it.
We don't have a notary here tonight, do we?
No, well, yeah, we've got one here.
Charlie?
No.
Well, Jenny.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No? What'd you say?
If you want to put it to a vote, you can do
No,
that.
that's,
That can be done.
anybody want to?
I make a motion. How do you, is that?
This would be a motion to transfer the property to the Stickleville School Community Center Association.
Is that a motion, Mr. Poe?
Oh, no, it's not a motion, not for me.
I make a motion that deed the property, the Stickleville School, to the Stickleville School Community Center Association.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Congratulations.
One question, who will I need to be down here to sign the paper? Does Wayne and need to be here?
You don't need anybody to sign, it'll be signed on our side, and
We don't do that now?
well, we can do it at, later in the meeting, or as we break, or whatever.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'll be ready to give it to him.
You can stick around or you can go home and we'll get it to you on Friday.
Either way, if you want me to take the paper, I'll take it.
Okay. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
Make a motion to approve October 21st regular meeting and November 6th recess meeting.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have a request for a refund from Dale Lee Thompson. I hear a motion to approve.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We have a motion, a request to make a refund to Dennis Hendricks.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We have a request for a refund from James and Linda Holcomb.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, we have the Lee County Administrator's Report and payroll warrants. have been issued.
Sharon, make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay. Okay, approval of distributions, is that what we done here? Okay, delegations. We got Huey Cutter.
He's already spoken.
Okay, Jasper, so we've already covered the delegations then.
Well, we had a second one, but I don't see Mr. Johnston in the audience, so.
Don? No. Okay, finance monthly appropriations.
That's the monthly appropriation to the school board and social services.
Make a motion, we approve resolution 14-031.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve resolution 14-033, Lee County School Board supplemental appropriation. Need that amount.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Old business, building permit fees. I don't see, Mr. Harless here.
Well, this was carried over from last month. The board tabled the matter. There wasn't a specific request for him to return, so didn't know where he wanted to go with it. I brought copies of the information that he provided in last month. I've also been able to get, just today, got a copy of Scott County's fee schedule, if you want that back.
I'll restrict those, and since you don't have your copies with you, I'm assuming you probably, I don't know, maybe you are ready to move forward with it tonight.
You say Scott County's in here?
Scott County's is the last two pages. One is the fee schedule on, basically on stick built, and then they have a recap of the fees with the state levy that has to be added to it, given what the total would be for certain applications. But actually, I haven't even reviewed that because I didn't get that until this afternoon.
I'd actually like to have more time to process these numbers and then come back to the next meeting maybe with something.
I think we should go ahead and act on it now, or maybe talk about it, or
Is that something we can talk about in closed session?
can we do that?
No.
No? Talk about it now?
What do you think, Tina?
I think what Mr. Harless has given us is accurate, and that the prices on some of these things need to be raised, especially the commercial.
Well, it's something that's been way behind ever since I've been on this board, and some of the other people that have been in that building inspector's office began this work, but they never got it back to us. So it's been 7 years, there's not been one penny change in it.
No.
And it's, what Mr. Harless has presented is in line with surrounding counties. And what it is, it's, on some of these especially the commercial inspections that he's required to do. He spends, a lot of time and a lot of time driving back and forth to them, And what it's doing on commercial applications is it's costing us money, a lot of money.
Well, I was in favor of going ahead at the other meeting, so I make a motion that we approve these changes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
Now, I would ask, what effective date do you want to make this?
December 1.
That's going to give us,
Or immediately, make it immediately.
well,
Immediately.
the issue I'm thinking about is notifying the public of the change.
Don't lose out.
And, okay, that would still give us, we could still get it in next week's paper prior to December 1st, so. I'm trying to get in my head where we were at, because I can get this, the earliest we can get this in would be the weekend edition, if we can get that done.
It'll take effect immediately.
Well, let's make it December 1, and that gives them time. Oh, you don't want to make it December 1?
No.
Well, the secretary's out of that office this week, so he's going to have to go in and change all his schedules and everything as of tomorrow, if that's how you want to proceed, so.
Get it something to do.
Yep.
Okay,
It'll be all right.
we'll do that, and I'll go ahead and run an ad anyway, and update on what some of the fees, and we'll get it put on our website as well.
Louise, take care of that for me.
Okay. New business, appointments to the Airport Authority.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we appoint Alan Crockett of UN Virginia to the Airport Authority Board.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, there is one other appointment that we failed to get on there, and it just, where Mr. Crabtree resigned from the Regional Jail Authority. We didn't pick up because it was a resignation, but that will leave a vacancy on that board.
Does anybody have any appointments that they want to make? Or a appointment?
Table it till the next meeting. That's a motion.
That's motion to table. Second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's tabled till next meeting. Okay, memorandum of understanding Southwest Regional Recreation Authority.
The board had previously voted to, we were, as I said, going to attempt to transfer the Tobacco Commission grant to the authority. They would not allow that to be done, and so we agreed to go into a memorandum of understanding with the Regional Recreation Authority for them to implement the grant. And so that document, they submitted a draft. We kicked back some issues that needed to be addressed and cleaned it up just a little bit. So that's been done at this point. Basically just says that Sarah will implement the project. They'll draw down the funds. The one thing I would call your attention to as far as an obligation that the county may have, because this is on a reimbursement basis, there is a provision down there, number 3 on the first page, that says that Lee County, where necessary, shall provide funding to SRRA within 15 days of them submitting funding requests, which include invoices and any other documentation necessary to document compliance with the terms of grant number 2108, or as soon after as is practical under the circumstances. It just basically means, should Sarah reach a point, they don't have a lot of extra funding lying around, and should they need to draw, should they have submitted a drawdown request to the Tobacco Commission, And prior to receiving those funds, should they need the county to front those, we would do that. Then when they receive the drawdown, they would reimburse those funds to us. So that's all, that's the major obligation that we have. They'll deal with the recreational authority on most matters. I mean, we'll have input into it as to how the funds are expended and the projects they're used for, but Sarah will be the one that implements the grant.
Mr. Poe, even back and forth through all the different times that we went through this, the date is, it says November 2013.
That's easy fix.
Okay. Get that
So-
fixed.
So is this gonna work? Is this, everything's going okay with this?
Once we get this document in place, I think they're ready to go to work.
I think they're heading towards procurement now, if I understand correctly.
Okay, we need to approve this.
I make a motion, we accept this memorandum of understanding with Southwest Regional Recreation Authority, I'm sorry. Said that Regional Jail in Brown.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, so we pass. Okay, Regional Jail Inmate Work Release Agreement.
You find in your packet an agreement permitting prisoners to work on state, county, city, town, or charitable property. The agreement was prepared by the Regional Jail Authority in response to some issues that arose. It had, in a couple of instances, I think it was some towns that failed to obtain medical treatment for an inmate while they were under their care. They were injured while they were working for that entity, and they failed to minor issues, it would be fine to take them back, but in these cases, they took them back, one with a pretty nasty gash in his leg that from a cut he'd received from a chainsaw accident, and I think there was another as well. Anyway, they took them back to the jail, deposited them there without saying anything about the injury, so the regional jail ended up stuck with the bill for medical treatment later on, and a couple of those were pretty substantial. So this is a standard agreement that will be required of any entity that utilizes inmate laborers. I just ask that you review it carefully. I mean, it's basically common sense what's in here and what should be adhered to, but it's just stating it in writing and requiring all entities that utilize the inmates to sign one of these. It's my understanding the sheriff's office has already signed one for the inmates that they utilize. This would be covering the ones that we use for recycling and at the transfer station. And should we get any additional other than that at various times, we'd cover them as well.
Gary has reviewed and approved it.
They signed off on
I
it
know he's on the board.
on behalf of their department, yes. And again, there's some, like I say, some common sense guidelines there. The biggest obligation is if you get one of them injured and it requires immediate medical attention, you don't take them back to the jail and drop them. You take them and get medical attention, and that would be the expense of the county if they were under our watch and care during that time.
They come under the county's workers' comp, I believe.
It's not workers' comp because they're not employed by the county. It would
Well-
just be an expense to us.
Could be, but I believe they're covered under certain circumstances.
Maybe we would certainly look at any means of reimbursement if we could get it. But without these agreements, we would not be able to utilize inmate labor, and we rely heavily on that for recycling. That's 2/3 of our workforce on recycling.
What kind of liability we have with this?
Again, the biggest liability is if one of them's injured while they're under your supervision, you're responsible for the medical care.
I mean, God forbid one of them would be killed while they released us.
That would depend on the circumstances. If negligence could be proven, they would be provision for suit against the county in an instance like that. But if there's no negligence that can be proven, the county, to a certain extent, has sovereign immunity. But again, that will not stop a negligence claim.
I believe there's a statute that treats them as an employee of the county. That's why I mentioned that, and I believe it specifically mentions that. That's one of these obscure things. You know, so that brings up a whole different set of issues, you know, about the liability. You know, simple negligence under workers' comp's not an issue. You know, it'd have to be gross, wanton, and willful.
Okay. So we have to agree that we will abide by.
If we're going to utilize inmates, we'll have to sign one of these agreements.
Okay. We need a motion to.
Yes.
Agree to approve, to
Yes.
abide by, this agreement. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the regional jail inmate work release agreement.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, police cruiser bids.
We've received bids for 5 new police cruisers. 3 of these are being purchased under the Rural Development Grant. The grant funding plus a local required match. The other 2 would be purchased over a 3-year term with a 25% down payment. We were using, for the down payment, we're using insurance proceeds for 2 cruisers that were wrecked in total. Unfortunately, this was circulated among the normal vendors that we send this out to, but we only received 2 bids. Both of those are from Dodge dealers. Auto World, Big Stone Gap had the low bid at $23,256 each. Tim Short Auto Group out of Middlesboro submitted a bid of $26,294 each. Both of these bids would require us, either one, even the low bid, would require us to exceed budgeted funds by the time we get them road ready. Number one, the price is higher than what was anticipated when we were budgeting. Secondly, since the cars that we're downing are all Chevrolets, the security cages in them will not fit in a Dodge. So we would be required to buy new cages. I don't have an accurate figure, but I can give you the minimum amount probably that we would be looking at for the cages would be an additional $3,000 to $3,500. Plus, as I said, just the base cost of these vehicles is going to exceed what we had budgeted. If we went through with the low bid there, we would exceed budgeted funds by at least $9,000, probably more. The Virginia Department of General Services has Dodge, Ford, and Chevrolet police cruisers all on state contract. We've compared state contract prices in the past, but as long as local bids, we're very close to that. Within just $200-300, we have gone locally to keep the business there. In this case, the Chevrolets are the lowest price unit under state contract. At the equipped out at per the bid specifications and the additional cost for delivery, since these delivery, I think, on the Chevrolets is within 150 miles of their address in Richmond. The additional cost of that would push the price up just a little bit per vehicle. But the total cost on the Chevrolets under state contract would be $21,650 each. That's an immediate savings of just a little over $1,600 per vehicle. But it also would eliminate the need to purchase new cages because the old cages would transfer out into the new vehicles. Of course, I made a comment there. I typically prefer to buy from a local dealer, and especially when you get into issues with warranty and things like that. But in this case, because of the budget numbers and the difference in price, my recommendation is going to be that we go to state contract with the Chevrolets.
Do we have to go pick these up, or
No, that's the additional transportation cost.
they put them on a hauler and bring them all?
They'll either have them drop shipped here from the factory, or they'll transport them from there here.
It's cheap. And I think that's the way to go myself.
It'll be about, at a minimum, $11,000 to $12,000 cheaper to go with the state contract units.
No brainer.
No brainer. Make a motion to go with state contract.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Holiday schedule.
Wanted to update you on their Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's holidays, the schedule. At the current time, the governor has granted an additional half-day before Thanksgiving on that Wednesday, which is fairly typical, so we would be closed at noon on Wednesday, November 26th, and all day Thanksgiving Day and the Friday after. Also, on the Christmas holiday, December 24th, Christmas Eve, is not a state or local holiday. The 25th is. The governor has also granted Friday, December 26th as an additional holiday, and a half day on December 24th. So currently our schedule would be to close at noon on Christmas Eve, to be closed on Christmas Day and the Friday after. And then on New Year's, we would be closed by county policy on Thursday, January 1st. The governor, again, has granted an additional state holiday for Friday, January 2nd. Typically, I don't ask for any extra time. We've always, in the 18 years I've been here, we've never worked on Christmas Eve, but according to this schedule, we would be working a half-day Christmas Eve, so.
So you want a half a day?
Well,
Well, they gonna take anything you give them, Charlie. And
She
more.
told me she didn't want any of these days.
Yeah.
Too many.
what will
We'll
happen?
give y'all to come help me work.
Well, I'll not do that. Here's what will happen. There'll be several that will request half-day vacation time off, and we'll have just minimal skeleton everywhere in the building, basically. That happens a lot at Thanksgiving. We're usually running a pretty slim staff on Thanksgiving. The other question is whether or not we'll even have anybody in the building coming in to transact business on the 24th, on the morning of the 24th.
What days are the convenience centers gonna be closed?
Mr. Collinsworth's not here. They'll be closed on Christmas Day for sure. They will be open. I would go ahead and state at least on the 25th. They'll probably, I don't know if they'll give them approval to close early on the 24th or not, but they will be closed the 25th for sure, but they'll be open the 26th.
Okay, so they'll be closed Thanksgiving Day.
Yes, they'll be closed
27th.
Thanksgiving Day, but they'll be open the
Christmas.
day after.
Put that in paper, Louise,
What about New Year's?
so they'll know.
Day.
They'll be closed New Year's Day, but they'll open on that Friday.
I think we need to look at this again. I get complaints all the time when the convenience centers are closed on like Columbus Day and just days like that. And maybe, what does the board feel about changing that?
I'm with you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Well, I think we need to make sure we're closed Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Absolutely.
For sure, those 2 days. The rest of the time is,
Most people don't haul their trash off till the day after these major holidays
Right.
anyway.
right.
What about New Year's?
New Year's Day.
They just said they would be closed New Year's Day,
Right.
Good.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
with it being open,
Close.
closed on New Year's Day.
Well, I think that's what we need to establish, when's it gonna be
Right.
open, when's it's not. you know.
Right, yeah.
I mean, 'cause we keep changing it back and forth and people go crazy.
Well, those three right there are the main ones, in my opinion. Some of these other holidays are,
Yeah.
people don't even know it's a holiday.
No,
Most
I
people
watched
don't.
them the other day, pulling into that bank over there beside Food City. I bet you there was 20 cars coming there. Every one of them went to the door and it was like, it was Columbus Day, I guess, or whatever it was. What was the last holiday?
Veterans Day.
Veterans Day. Go over and they just shaking that door at the bank, and then they're like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think those three major holidays right there, and I think that's probably what we need to stick with.
we can revise the convenience center days to only be closed on Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day, and be open the rest of the holidays. I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that's effective immediately as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yesterday.
So is this right here, what the state's doing, Dane, is that on this regular holiday schedule?
Yes.
Do we not always follow what the state does, kind of?
Typically, we follow either, I mean, it's a combination of local, state, and federal.
Is there any way you could let some of the employees be off all day on the day before Thanksgiving, or vice versa? You said you work with the skeleton crew anyway, maybe switch.
Well, I mean, it just
switch them out.
depends as requests come in. I mean, some schedule well in advance, it just depends, but.
I don't think anybody will be here on Christmas Eve. That's just my opinion too, so. Whatever you all think.
Well, if we're open, I cannot allow every office to be off. If
No,
we're
that's not what
open,
I'm saying. I don't have
that's,
a problem with
we have to have
being closed.
at least, it'll be on first come, first served basis.
So
That-
all the state offices, now this includes constitutional offices. They-
No, well, not technically.
They-
They set their own hours. As elected officials, they can set their office hours,
They
however
don't
they
go
can
by what
choose.
the county or the state either one does.
They typically go by county, but they can close any, that's their call. That's the officer's call, the elected official's call.
You don't know what they're doing yet?
No, because we haven't published our schedule
So you
yet.
could have the courthouse open, but then your treasurer's office and your commissioner of revenue's office may
That
be closed.
That happens sometimes,
So,
occasionally.
when did, the governor set this already?
Yes.
You say you normally give them the,
Well, typically,
Okay.
what happens, the governor grants the additional day for Christmas Eve.
Well, I think we need to swap the Wednesday, November 26th,
There you go.
and the Wednesday, December 24th.
Well, we'll have to change our policy if we do that, because our policy states we follow, if the state grants additional time, or the president grants additional time at the federal level, then we follow that schedule.
Never heard nobody getting out that before Thanksgiving. We didn't anticipate that turkey hunt or something.
The governor's been granting that.
Now we gotta go kill some
for
turkey, boys.
How many years now?
get some food.
We've probably been under that for the last 12, 14 years or longer.
Well, I say work Wednesday before Thanksgiving and take off Thursday, or Wednesday before Christmas. That's what my suggestion would be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will that work?
It will, but and I'm not trying to be difficult, but that's going to have to change our policy. Our personnel policy states that we will follow the schedule determined either by the local schedule, which we have set days described, or that any additional time granted by the governor or the president will be observed by the county.
Well, so in order
So
not
to
cause
swap
you or
these two
anybody
days.
else any inconvenience, we'll take what the state recommends here, and let's move on. We beat on
If
this,
everybody-
we beat on this for 2 hours.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, I just need another motion to say we're gonna change the policy to not necessarily include state days or state additional time, but it will be as determined by the board.
I make a motion, we go by what we have right here in front of us.
Second.
All in favor?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay, E911 road naming issues. Uh-oh. What's that?
The 911 office recently received a request to rename a private road. One of the requesting landowners was at our October meeting. They did not speak. They did relay their request to me when the board went into, was preparing to go into closed session. In that particular instance, a property owner originally named the road. That property owner has since died. The current owners would like to have that name changed. The road naming ordinance has provision for changing road names, but there's also a prohibition in there. There was a moratorium that for a period of time between the road name adoption by the Board of Supervisors and 2 years after the first live enhanced 911 call is received by the county's communications E911 center, no road names adopted during the road naming process described herein may change by means of public petition. The ordinance was adopted in 2004. We received our first 911 call with the new equipment in October of 2011. However, that was not enhanced 911. The ordinance states after 2 years after the first live enhanced 911 call. We were getting most of the enhanced information as far as address and location, things like that, but we had not achieved the 95% verification that's required to be considered enhanced 911 at that point in time. Even though we were getting the information, we couldn't always verify that it was correct. So that was considered basic 911. We did not achieve enhanced 911 verification until December of 2013. So if we go strictly by the enhanced version, we would not be able to change any road names until 2 years after. Well, it would be basically January of 2016 before anything would be eligible. We were under the basic 911 and receiving pretty much the same information at that point in time for about 2 years prior to that. So, you know, unless directed otherwise, we will adhere to the original ordinance, which means that the moratorium would not begin until the end of December 1st of January 2013, which means we're just a year into it. There's still another year that we would go through before any road names could be changed. The other option would be to go ahead and accept the date of the first basic 911 call when we went on to the new equipment and we're receiving basically the same information, which was in October 2011. If we accept that date, then the moratorium period is up and road names could be changed at this point. Now, all the property owners, there's guidelines in the ordinance too for property owners petitioning for a name change. In this particular instance, I think there's five property owners, something of that nature in that area. And for less than 10, it requires 100% agreement by all the property owners in what the new name would be. The lady that was here indicated that that would be the case, that everyone was in favor of changing it, but I can't say that. But the question here is, which do you want us to follow the strict guideline of the ordinance, or do you want to go ahead and accept the October 2011 date when we received our first basic calls and allow the moratorium to have already extinguished?
What am I missing here? What is the big, is there going to be a big expense or?
In a petition for a name change under the ordinance, property owners are responsible for the cost of the new signage. Is that not correct?
That one was a little.
I think that is correct, that they would be responsible for the new signage cost. And that's probably, depending on a private road like that, it's probably a couple $100.
$170, $150, $175.
About $200 that they're gonna have to be responsible for if they wanna change that name.
Well, I think if we enforce that on the sign change, I don't know why we can't just go back to the October 2011, let the moratorium drop in.
I agree. Let them go ahead and change it if they want to.
There's no
They live on the
advantage or
road.
disadvantage to it.
Right.
Okay. If that's consensus, I won't ask for a vote, but even just by consensus, we can go ahead and move forward with trying to take care of this issue then.
That's it.
Thank you.
That gives us half a vote back.
All right. Now, we're down to a report from our attorney.
I have nothing to report from the board at this time.
Now, our second half of the meeting, report from our county.
Well,
Administrator.
I'll go ahead and bring it up since I've got it down here. There's no formal action required. But you may know that the General Assembly met in special session November the 10th to take up some budgetary matters as a result of low revenue estimates that were coming in and dealing with an issue as far as transportation funding, sort of a lingering issue with transportation funding for the current year. One of the issues at play, one of the solutions that they had come up with at one point was to defer a $50 million state payment into the transportation fund for this year. A different portion of that legislation was, or a portion of that legislation was amended and brought into the November 10th special session, and they determined that rather than defer that payment, they would go ahead and stay on schedule with it. So to come up with that extra $50 million, one of the budget cutting measures that the General Assembly took was to re-establish a reduction in the aid to localities, which we went through that for 4 years previously, but this time they tagged counties for $30 million out of that $50 million. Lee County's portion of that is going to be $47,204. We have to advise them, and this is cut in different areas. Some of it is in funding to the constitutional offices, small amounts. Some of it is in the court system. Some of it is in the Comprehensive Services Act. It's spread over about 12, 14, 15 different areas. What we have done in the past is, rather than them reducing payments in those areas, we just cut them a check for a lump sum and send it to them and be done with it. And that way the payments come down the same as they were projected to. But don't need a decision on that tonight. We have to notify them by January 1 how we're going to deal with it. But anyway, that's going to be an extra $47,200 out of our funds that was not budgeted for this year, because this was not an issue. This wasn't on the table when we were preparing our budget.
Can you get us a detailed summary of what all it affects?
Yes, I can.
And I knew I got an email from Richmond that considering the same thing. I just didn't detail what they were cutting.
Well, and I need to check on a couple of these to see exactly where it's going to hit. Of the ones here, reimbursement for general registrar, $1,029. Reimbursements on the local electoral board, $202. Financial assistance for local court services, $12,126. Commissioner Revenue's office, $1,253. Commonwealth Attorney's office, $7,796. Circuit Court Clerk's office, $5,026. Treasurer's office, $534. Reduction in air distribution from rolling stock taxes, $3,253. A reduction in our share of recordation taxes for deeds, $502. The larger amounts here, or one of the largest one, is comprehensive services, financial assistance for child and youth services. This is in the youth risk and families, $14,654. And under Department of Juvenile Justice, assistance for community-based alternative treatment services, $829. And it's spread over several different departments.
That's all copy of that. All right. If you would, please.
When you write the check, you just take it out of each one of those departments? Or
Typically in the past, we have not.
No, take it out.
I mean, the amounts have varied. I don't even know how they're coming up with some of these numbers from the base amount that they're saying they're starting with. In two of the constitutional offices, I can see exactly what they're using for the base amount. and they're taking it out of employee salaries. They're not hitting the officer's salary, but it's a reduction in the employee salaries. But keep in mind too, there's conflicting statutes on the books, and we went through this for 4 years when we had it it was actually incorporated into the budget every year. There's statutes that say whatever salary that the comp board sets for individuals in constitutional offices, the localities are obligated to pay that amount. Then they turn around, they'll tell you, there's also statutes that say they'll pay 50% of that cost or 100% of that cost. Then they turn around with backdoor stuff like this and say, well, but we're going to reduce that aid by X percentage or so many dollars. So which statute are you following? Do you have a legal right to reduce that salary, or are you obligated to hold that salary because there's another statute that says you will? In addition to this, there's also and this will depend on how well the jail authority is able to absorb theirs and what they can do. They're looking at a total reduction of $423,000 and change. So you can figure Lee County's portion of that is somewhere around probably 8 to 10%. Now, in the past, they've worked very hard to try and reduce their costs throughout the year so that full cost doesn't come back on localities at the end of the year. In some instances, they've been able to completely recoup it, but it's getting more and more difficult to do as budgets get tighter and tighter. So that's something that they'll be calculating later in the year. We may see this come back and bite us again near the end of the year or the first of the next year in our true up with the regional jail.
How much were we sending the state check for? I can't remember the exact amount.
Previously?
Yeah.
We were sending $100 and some $1,000. I think the most was like $140,000 or $150,000 each year. And I mean, they used this same type provision for 4 years to help balance the state budget. And it's an issue that the Association of Counties has fought hard against ever since they first implemented it, and then they had dropped it. It disappeared from the budget, and now
For 1 year?
it's come back as a backdoor provision as a one-time fix for this year. But it's getting just a little too handy for them to use that ploy, I think, to balance their budget, and just dumps the cost back on localities.
Yeah, they don't care about us.
But
We're just easy pickings.
Yeah, I'll see that I'll let you get a copy of the schedule of what that's going to impact, and we'll have that on the agenda for next month as well. Other than that, other than the request for closed session for the acquisition of property, that's the only thing I have.
What?
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Birthday, whatever.
All right.
I've been out of town too long, so I probably.
Okay, I think we're ready to,
Want to go into closed session
Yeah.
now or do reports and recommendations of the board? Okay. Reports?
That way they can leave.
Yes,
Louis wants to go home anyway.
okay.
And David, I know that.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Carl?
Mr. Poole, I was going to check and see if we got anything done with the state on the road going up on the mountain down there, Blue Springs.
The last, and I didn't talk to Alan about that today when I was talking to him because of the personal situation that he had, but the last email that I had from him on that, I think he had actually talked to you on that, because this was back in the summer when he said they were basically stockpiling material off of other roads that they were going to use to try to bed that road in better, but I didn't bring that up when I was talking to him today. I
They're
just let him go.
stockpiling it, but they're also reducing the amount of space people can park to ride four-wheelers up there, so I don't know.
Okay, so they're storing it up there on site? Is
Yeah.
that- Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll get with him over the next couple of days. He'll probably be in office. I don't know if he'll be in the office tomorrow or not, but I'll get with him on that and make sure, get you a follow-up, and I'll let you know quick as I know something.
And I'd also like to take just a minute to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. It's one of my Actually, it's my favorite holiday of the year. There's no pressure to buy gifts, no re-gifting or anything, just enjoying family and friends. But I do like to wish everybody in the county a happy Thanksgiving special time. That's all I have.
Okay, I want to thank Gary for his good work, Gary Collins, with his work getting the seminary voting booth finished in time for the election this year. And I also want to thank the Stickleyville alumni people for getting the doing such a good job over at Stickleyville with the school. They are such an active group and are doing such a good job at bringing the community together over there and taking care of the school building, the work that they're doing of keeping it going and keeping it up and doing the repairs that needs to be done. And it's just a wonderful situation over there to bring the community together. Larry?
Usually you don't have anything good to report, but I do have some good news tonight. Their hospital certificate of public need was approved. Did you get that email? And we're still in negotiations with Wellmont as far as the building goes. I think the Powell Valley News received a press release. Did you get that, Louise, from Jeff Mitchell? I'm not gonna try to repeat that word for word. It's a pretty long press release. But I think that Wellmont's a little bit more focused on their partnership with whatever healthcare provider that they were narrowed down to 2. And I hear that they have selected one, but that's up to them to announce that, not me. But they're more focused on that right now than they are the people of Lee County. And the other thing I had was the cuts from the state. Mr. Pope's already covered that.
Tina?
Okay. I would just like to take a moment to thank the veterans in the county. I know between the last meeting and this meeting, we had Veterans Day, and just do want to thank all of you for your service. And also, I'd like to congratulate the Lee High School Generals on their win at Appomattox last Friday or Saturday. And also, they will be going to Giles to play this coming Saturday, and they are the defending state champions. And when they travel, it does cost the team and the school some money and expenses. I know the town of Pennington Gap had appropriated $500 towards this coming week's expenses, and I think that the county should do something like that as well. If the board agrees, I'd like to match what the town of Pennington did and give Lee High School Generals $500 towards their trip this week. And I'll put that in the motion if I didn't say that.
Okay, Tina, I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I have one thing to add to that. I was at that ball game Saturday, and there's a gentleman that lives in Appomattox that serves on the Virginia Association of Counties Board of Directors with me. And we talked before, and we met during the game and was talking. And he looked over at our grandstands, and it was completely full. He said, "Y'all travel well." I said, "Thank you. We do support our team." We probably had more fans there than they did.
We did.
And we traveled 5 hours.
Yeah.
That's what my kids said, that more of us.
So I'm proud of our fans and our football team,
Me
that people get out and support them.
And they also had when they came back into Lee County, it was about 11:30 at night, and they were met there at the old Payless building in Pennington with the fire department, the rescue squads, and about 60 cars, and followed them all the way back to Lehigh. Now that's a welcoming home.
Yeah. And I tell you, the cutest thing I saw up there was the sign that the cheerleaders made. It said, "Y'all can tell you girlfriends you'll be off next weekend."
I like the one that says, Lee won't surrender again.
Yeah.
Go bus driver.
That's all I have. Okay. I make a motion that we go into closed session for acquisition of property. That'd be Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A3.
Would you add investing in public funds?
And investing in public funds, 2.2-3711A, is that 5? 6. Investment in public funds.
Second.
Aye.